together in a deep V. "Can't I stay with Grandma alone?" But Mom shook her head, not considering that option. No one did. No one took Nolie's side. Not even Grandma, whose face flashed a quick flicker of disappointment as the grown-up talk turned to logistics. Only Nolie felt a seething, twisting ember of anger spark inside her, a fury of injustice. Her sister had ruined Cousins Week before it even began. Just like Lyndon had ruined everything lately. Last time Mom set up an ice cream sundae bar for dessert, Lyndon rolled her eyes, grabbed a few mini marshmallows, and went back to her phone. Or when Dad offered to take them to an amusement park, Lyndon said the rides made her nauseated. It was like ever since Lyndon had turned 12 in April, a switch had flipped in her, and her mood was more often off than on. She ignored Nolie most of the time, glued to her phone, watching stupid dance videos, or learning how to braid her hair into more and more elaborate styles. Fishtail, French, Dutch, you name it. Lyndon used to beg to practice on Nolie's hair, but recently, when Nolie offered to let her, Lyndon scowled and said, "Meh, your hair's too thin." Sometimes that summer, it felt like there was a stranger sleeping in the bed across from Nolie, not her sister. Now, Nolie'd had enough. She couldn't snap out of her sour, angry mood for the 4 days of Cousins Week that they did have. Not that anyone cared how she felt. Lyndon and Anna carried on as usual, leading the charge into the ocean, directing them on how to build a giant moat in the sand, deciding when it was time for a break. Nolie's grumpiness only meant that she got left behind. Last one into the ocean, last to pick her ball color in mini-golf. Last to take a shower so the water was barely warm for her turn. Grandma at least showed some sympathy, even if she didn't outright say that she was disappointed too. She asked Nolie if she had any special dinner requests, and didn't even sigh when Nolie asked for her favorite lemon parmesan risotto, which meant Grandma spending nearly an hour stirring a pot of rice over the hot stove. She let Nolie have everyone's favorite piece, the dog, for their game of Monopoly. Grandma even gave Nolie the first choice of treasure. Every year at the end of Cousins Week, she gave the grandchildren a treasure from the beach to take home. A piece of green or blue sea glass, an interesting shell, a tiny bottle filled with sand. Now Grandma had opened her straw beach bag and pulled out a smaller plastic bag with something that clinked inside. Nolie peeked in to discover a jumble of seashell necklaces. "Oh, these are so pretty!" She couldn't help but feel uplifted by the necklaces. By choosing one, on the lime green cord, and letting Grandma slip it around her neck. A treasure to wear all the time, that she could reach up and touch whenever she wanted to be reminded of their beach days. It was like her best friend Jessa. She had an amethyst crystal necklace that her grandmother had given to her before she died, for good luck. Now she'd have a special necklace of her own, too. "Thank you." Nolie threw her arms around Grandma, inhaling her soapy floral scent. Grandma pulled her into a tight hug on her lap. I need to savor you," she said, resting her cheek against Nolie's head. "Next year you might be too big for me to hold this way." Nolie thought she was already too big, but she didn't say it. She let Grandma hold her as long as she wanted. She didn't want any of it to end. At least back in the city, they lived close enough to Grandma that they saw her almost every week. Unlike the cousins, who mostly came in from New Jersey for holidays. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, Thanksgiving, Passover, and Jessa would be back from visiting her father in LA by now. On the last day, the rain fell all morning. When it stopped and the sun peeked out, Nolie took a break from packing to get in her last breaths of beach air. As she walked down to the beach, she spotted one of Grandma's seashell necklaces on the side of the deck. The cord was aqua blue. Lyndon's. She must have dropped it by accident. Nolie picked it up to return to her, but Lyndon took it with a muttered, "Thanks," and no expression of relief. She didn't immediately slip it over her head, like Nolie.